Hi, this is Randy Randall of No Age and host of the podcast Hyphenate with Randy Randall. I want to welcome our newest sponsor of the show, DistroKid. DistroKid helps musicians get their music on all the major streaming platforms, and artists keep 100% of their royalties. Hyphenate listeners get 30% off at distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate. Again, that's distrokid.com/VIP/HYPHENATE. Go get your music streaming everywhere now. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Hyphenate. This is our show for Monday, September 9th. This is the Hyphenate halftime show. Hyphenate halftime show. My co-host, Mr. Aaron Farley, is dealing with something they call the line fire, where he is in the northern eastern mountains of Los Angeles, and his house may be getting evacuated. I think he is safe, as we know for now, but he's unable to join us. But that means I'm able to have a very, very special guest, my very own better half, Miss Shannon Randall. Thank you so much for joining me on the Hyphenate halftime.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here in the studio with Randy Randall.
So tell me, be honest, how many of these podcasts have you listened to? I know you subscribe and you like it, you share them with your friends, and you listen to every podcast I do, but you know.
Well, if I was a follower of podcasts, I would be your number one fan. But to be honest, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I did listen to your first one and half of another and half of another. And I catch clips on the socials.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people that, you know, you're very happy that I have a podcast, because that means I don't talk to you straight into your ear for an hour every day. I get to share my voice, my random opinions with the rest of the world, and they don't just go straight to you all the time.
It's true. If you talk at me too much in the kitchen, I send you to the studio.
You get an hour's break of me rambling. This last week's episode was Daniel Efram, who came to the house. Do you remember when Daniel was here? He was the photographer and producer editor of the Steve Keen art book. It was the big art book about the prolific underground artist Steve Keen.
Yeah.
And and we had a great conversation. That was really fun. That was last week's thing. And Farley and I usually talk about the last week's episode for about 2 seconds, at the last 2 seconds of the podcast. So we don't actually have to talk about it at all.
I saw the book and I met the book editor, and it's super cool.
Yeah, that was fun. But what is going on with you? What's the latest?
We've been having a Beetlejuice themed weekend.
Oh, yes.
Thursday night, you and I saw the new movie Beetlejuice, aka Beetlejuice 2, the sequel. And that was super fun. So we can talk. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. And then I went to a Beetlejuice themed roller skating event last night, put on by this great group called Skate Oddity. Their hashtag is @SkateOddity.
Oh yeah.
And they put on great skating events.
That's so fun. When did you first see the first Beetlejuice?
I saw it probably on my TV in the late 80s. I think it came out in 88. And I definitely remember seeing it at home. I don't know. It probably wasn't on TV. Maybe it was on TV or it was on a VHS. Mm-hmm. But definitely it was such a fun, surprising movie. And I didn't get it all, but I remember liking Beetlejuice. And I liked Michael Keaton as an actor at the time, and also Winona Ryder.
Yeah, I know we were talking about it after we saw the movie, but I remember seeing it in the theater, and I was born in 81, so I must have been 7 years old, which sounds insane to me. I mean, we can't get our 10-year-old to go see this one now.
Yeah.
And just the times and entertainment choices have changed over the years, but my mom was reminding me of it, that her sister, my aunt, took me and the cousin.
The cousin to see
to go see it, and we were just little tykes. And my mom says she remembered it was Ash Wednesday, or Good Friday, the Friday before Easter. And my mom was so mad. I can't believe we saw such a movie on
scary.
Good Friday. So scary.
Yeah. Wilson, what do you think about
Mr.
Wilson? Our 5-year-old's here. Wilson, come talk on the microphone. Tell me what you think about Beetlejuice. Come talk right here.
Have
you ever seen what he looks like?
Of the latest Larry Crane episode. He came in. Come here. Don't touch that part. Come here. Do you have something to say?
No.
What do you need?
Actually.
Do you need snacks?
Can I take a break with my iPad?
Sure.
So Beetlejuice. Well, our kids, we've shown them parts of the original movie, and it's a little freaky for this era's children. I think when we were watching movies in the 80s, we were used to seeing things like Poltergeist and other wacky things scary scenes from Ghostbusters and other movies like that. So yeah, we loved it then, and that's why it was a fun date night for us.
Yeah, no, I think it was cool. It's definitely funny to think about, what that movie, and I think it was the VHS time too, where a movie like that would come out, and if it was a big hit or not, but it would have this life, for younger people like us, where we just could watch it a million times on VHS. And I remember one of my favorite memories of my dad is watching it with him at home, because he didn't go to see it. It was the two moms and the two kids.
Oh, that's
we
right.
went and saw it in the theater, and then I remember when it came out on video, I was like, we have to rent it. This is my favorite movie. And then watching it with my dad, and when the Deo scene came on, where the shrimp cocktails turned into hands and made everybody dance, my dad laughed so hard. It was probably the hardest I'd seen my dad laugh. And it was like that kind of laugh where it's like tears are coming out of his eyes.
That's awesome.
Like he really thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I remember, that's always, it's one of those things, when you see your parents really laugh,
yeah,
really have emotions. You're like, oh, I remember this. Wow, look at him. He's smiling and happy.
Yep. I remember that with my dad when he sees things from like Blazing Saddles or other like National Lampoon Vacation, the real hearty laughs where parts were so funny and he really got a kick out of it. It stuck out in my mind too.
Yeah. It was wild. So, and then it just, so that was 88, and then they did Batman 89, right after. And then Winona Ryder went on to do,
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. So they did a lot there. But then Beetlejuice. What did you think? Was it? I mean, it's a long time. It's hard. I was nervous coming into it. I was like, is this going to live up not to the hype, but just to how good the first one was? It's going to become a classic. It only gets better. It only gets better every time.
I thought it was amazing. I mean, I love seeing Michael Keaton in his 70s doing the same role again. Yeah. That was so fun to see him.
He looks so good for being in his 70s,
yeah,
right?
It's like he didn't miss a beat.
He looks like a late 50s, early 60s. I really think that doesn't seem like a 70s.
He was great in the Spider-Man movies too as Vulture, yeah. But I love Michael Keaton. I've loved him since Mr. Mom and all those other 80s movies. And so he was awesome. And then Winona Ryder was awesome. Jenna Ortega, I love her from Wednesday. And I just thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was wacky. It was, like you said, you and I were like grabbing each other's hands what certain parts because they were so spooky and just crazy and like some parts were gory, which was so fun. Yeah. And it
felt appropriate for kind of
silly.
Yeah, I can't imagine like the task of having to revisit classic IP like that. I mean, obviously that's 90% of movies that come out now are rehashes or retelling or resettings of stories and settings that films where everybody knows, but just it's really a tough one. It's because you gotta have all the fan service in there and all the things that point at the stuff, so everyone goes, "Ee, they said the thing, they did the thing," but how do you make it new or fresh or anything, or does that even matter? I don't know. I couldn't tell what was the I don't know.
Well, I think people our age are bringing their kids. Like we might not bring our 10-year-old, but I think a lot of age 6 or 7 up to the teens are seeing it, and it's because they put Jenna Ortega in it that gives it new life, and there was a cute teen love story. So I can just imagine a lot of younger people going and enjoying the movie this fall, and I think it gives it new life. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I think I forget about that it's like almost like when things went from black and white to color. I mean, it's not, but this is a 30-year-old movie or whatever, the 20-something-year-old movie. So you need something. If it's something people recognize because there's a whole new audience to it to get to it and everything.
Yeah,
I've thought more about it since we've seen it, and I was trying. It's always those things too. Like there's so much. The dancing and the comedy and everything, you just kind of bounce along with it. But I was trying to think more about like the story of it, and I was like, it feels like the story doesn't really kick in until she, I guess, spoilers if you haven't seen it. So, here you could pause here, or you could jump ahead, to to the next thing. But it feels like the story doesn't really kick in until she gets taken to the underground, right? To the underworld, the land of the dead. I mean, it feels like all the stuff before that is all kind of set up. And then once that happens, it feels like it takes, a while to get into it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I love all that setup. I love when she meets the other teenage boy and you don't know what's going to happen with them and you have some ideas of what's going to happen. And so I loved all that and just putting her back in the town of, what do they call the town? Winter or something. Yeah, something.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah. But I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. Did you watch the cartoon?
I did watch the cartoon.
That always seemed more fun too. And I think that's the kind of stuff that the sequel almost has to like deal with. And I think the Ghostbusters kind of dealt with it in a similar kind of way, where it's like the first movie just had to be the first movie, and the second, third, or whatever, all these reboots. It's like now you have not just the original IP, but all of the ancillary like kind of offshoots and retellings of those things. And I always thought the Beetlejuice and Lydia characters in the cartoon were so cute. Because then they became buddies. They're like little kids, almost like Muppet babies.
Yes.
Like Beetlejuice babies. They're like, we're just friends. He's no longer trying to like marry her and rape her or take her to the underworld or whatever,
right.
Kidnap her, where there's something kind of almost sinister and mean or about the original film.
Yeah.
Between their two characters. Now it's more lascivious. Now they're just like two friends. Like, hey, Beetlejuice, we got to go on an adventure.
Right.
Like, okay, Lydia, let's go.
Buddy cop.
Yeah.
Movie. Yeah. Oh, they were so great. I just think it's so fun to watch Winona Ryder in a movie. I think it reminds me of Stranger Things, how that breathed new life. And it's for multiple demographic age groups, for, the older people like us, but it appeals to young kids because it has a young cast. And I think that's so fun.
I know, I feel so bad for those poor Stranger Things kids. They never got to do anything else after that show. They just did the one show and didn't take over the rest of Hollywood.
You never know. They might come back like Winona Ryder 30 years later. Make a bunch of money doing more movies.
Yeah.
They're going to do a Stranger Things Broadway show, but it's like parody. Like I saw the ad for it. I think it's just in New York to start, but it's like goofy, like the Demogorgons, like dancing and things. No. But it looks kind of fun. I just saw an ad for it. Yeah,
I can see it.
Yeah,
it's funny. When I was in New York, I don't know, a couple of years back, there was the Beetlejuice Broadway show.
Right.
And I looked up tickets. It's always those kinds of things where, like, the last couple of years when I've done these different trips, it's like, I have a night off. I technically, could go spend $50 and get like nosebleeds and go see a show. But I'm also usually so tired. Yeah. I'm just having time away from the kids. Or there's just a quiet hotel room
bed
with HBO or TBS is on at a quiet hotel room. I think I'm just going to stay and go to bed at 8:00 at night.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to take the kids to more theater things. But maybe Back to the Future musical?
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. I think, right? Is it? I guess, yeah. I don't know. I think that's the thing that scares me too, is just the musicalness of it all.
Yeah.
Is everything going to be sung? Is it just going to make up new dumb songs for every scene? Especially when it's something you know so well. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Now they're singing. Yeah. They're singing about, we got to go 88 miles an hour. The flux capacitor is a wonderful capacitor.
Now we have to see it.
Okay. We should think of the bad version in our head. But yeah, the Beetlejuice musical, I don't know how that turned out. It seemed like that was good. We saw something on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. One of the characters.
Yeah, I can't
came
remember.
out for that. But
I can't remember.
That's good. Good for them.
Yeah. It was great. I'm sure the movie will do great through the whole Halloween season.
Yeah. Well, especially right now here in Southern California, it's so hot. I imagine everyone's just like, we got to just go to the movies just for the air conditioning or something. You probably save money buying expensive tickets and popcorn buckets rather than running your AC all weekend.
Yeah.
For the 2 hours, the length of the movie, you save that money.
Yeah, and the roller skating event I went to last night was so fun. There were so many people dressed as Beetlejuice and a lot of Lydias, and there was even kids. There was even a little baby dressed as a sandworm. So it was so much fun. People were getting a huge kick out of it.
It's huge. Oh, and Catherine O'Hara was great too. I mean, how great is she just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah,
seems like she's hit another stride after Schitt's Creek and everything. She was great in the movie. Like she really held more weight than I think she did in the first movie.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Always love her from Home Alone.
Right? Yeah. I feel like but now she's really leaned into this kind of more wackier, just like crazier
older
character.
Lady. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I was saying about some clip I saw where she said when she was younger, like in the SCTV days, she like wanted to do a character who would close their eyes when they talked about you, and then look at you when they said nothing. And they close their eyes, and then they showed a clip in Beetlejuice where her character gets to do that.
She did that, exactly that. Yeah. Yes, I remember you showed me that. That's awesome.
Yeah, what a kooky, fun person. And then who else was good in the movie? William Dafoe. Almost kind of had like a Ronald Reagan-esque type of thing.
Oh yeah, he was great. He was great. Monica Bellucci.
Yeah.
There was a little girl roller skating last night that did the face makeup of her with the big stapled scar down the middle of her head. Yeah, it was awesome. Good. Yeah. I was jealous. I was like, that's what I was going to do. An 8-year-old girl pulled it off.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was fun. But that was the moment that I was glad we didn't have our 10-year-old with us, because that part felt a little raunchy to me. She was putting her body back together and like stapling her arms and her legs and her head. And I said, ooh, I'm glad my 10-year-old isn't here. It's a little much.
I remember getting the staples out in my head. I had when I had
really
brain surgery in 2003. I remember waking up and it's like, half my head was shaved and I had staples, like in like a crescent shape on my skull, and kind of feeling when you sort of start to come to, like, okay, this is different, but they like hurt and were kind of tingling, kind of numb when you're feeling back in it. But then I don't know, whatever it is, like 3 or 4 or 5 days or a week or something later, I had to go back to the hospital and they take the staples out. But I remember looking at it in the mirror, I was like, wow, I feel like Frankenstein. Like staples are like no joke. It really is like if you took like 2 pieces of steak and put them next to each other and just stapled it together, it really looks like a thing. You're like, oh God, this is gnarly looking. But then when they take them out, that's like they told me to take some pain meds or whatever I was on at the time. Like, okay, I remember being so out of it still. Like my brain was scrambled eggs for a while. But they take it out. It's like somebody hitting you in the head with a little hammer. It goes bink. The way they take the staples out by like having a little like hammer like depress the middle part so the sticky parts on the side flare out. Anyway, it's gnarly. It's like the staple remover was hurt on my head. I felt like I got like hit in the head a bunch of times after that.
Oh, God, you're
definitely
okay.
I had flashbacks of the staple I saw her.
Oh, when you saw that, that's what you thought of?
That's what I was thinking
God.
of. I was like, oh God, this is, I know what that feels like. But in my case, getting the staples removed was worse than getting it put in because I wasn't conscious when they put them in. I could say I have no memory of them getting put in, but I do remember them getting taken out. Oh, it's gnarly.
I'm glad you're all put back together.
For the most part, every once in a while something falls off. It's sew back together. Oh, yeah, that was what we were saying too. She seemed like the girl from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, Sally.
Sally kind of removed her arm and she could
that was probably Tim Burton's fun way of doing that.
I guess so, yeah, or just his unique fascination with dismemberment.
That's true.
Yeah, I know. What a funny. I think that's what was so fun about the first film too, is that it like straddled the line of all these different genres, and almost in some ways it was sort of the announcement of like, here's Tim Burton, right? Where he had done Pee-wee's Big Adventure before, but that was such a Pee-wee movie. Like it almost didn't matter. I mean, obviously it matters who the director is. There were so many little Tim Burton things. Like in hindsight, you can go back and see the Large Marge claymation phase. Yeah. The little kind of the hyper set dressing and design of the house and all these little things seemed very Tim Burton-y. But Beetlejuice being the second movie, it really felt like it was his sort of like statement piece as a director. Like the story almost didn't matter because it was so much about this mixing of like kitschy 60s horror comedy, and then like goth design with this what do I want to say, like not Art Nouveau but the noir, kind of this German postmodern sort of design stuff.
Okay, I have a question. What other movies have had characters like a Beetlejuice, almost like a Frankenstein or a vampire that comes from upside down world to be mischievous and mess? Like, I'm trying to think of other analogies.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. There was like the classic one with Cary Grant and another one that was like We're No Angels. I think that's what it was, where it was almost like angels that come down to earth to become like human sort of corporeal form stuff. Or even there's like the Wim Wenders City of Angels, where Peter Falk is kind of an angel, sort of thing. And so there's that kind of thing, where you sort of have like the good guys kind of coming down to earth and just to feel what life is really like. But in terms of like ghosts coming to life, is that sort of the idea? Or demons or something?
Or just like a trickster, a goofy clown. Like,
yeah.
Like a big
well, there was
clown.
like Drop Dead Fred. I was going to Right Said
Drop Dead Fred. Oh, I forgot about that.
Rick Mayall.
So that must have come
right after.
A couple years after. Oh, that was super weird.
I mean, I feel like that was directly made. I mean, maybe the scripts were already written, but there would be no Right Said or Drop Dead Fred without
I remember
Beetlejuice.
that. That was very, as your mom would say, irreverent.
Yeah. Maybe too irreverent for its own good.
Oh, that would be weird to watch again. God, yeah, I remember my parents hated that. My mom.
Yeah. Drop Dead Fred was a little bit much.
Yeah. I don't even think my family was a fan of Beetlejuice. I mean, I think now that we watch the opening, now that we watch the opening scene with Ryder and see like the heads getting chopped off and the Maitlands trying to spook the house hold of the Deets, like there was just there was a lot of like right away. I think my parents seeing me watch that as a kid were like, oh no, this is not for you. Yeah,
but I think there's something almost in that kind of like Addams Family or Dr. Seuss, even in this kind of way where it's just, it feels so silly.
Yeah.
That like, obviously,
cartoony.
And I think there's something where I think when you're kids, especially, that there's like a fascination with that kind of stuff because it doesn't. Because death and all of this violence, all this stuff, it's not real. You're a kid, it's like cartoony. And
like Tom and Jerry is so violent.
Right, exactly, yeah. Like you put a dynamite stick in someone's pants and run away.
Hit him with a huge sledgehammer.
Yeah, or Bugs Bunny. I think that's almost what I was most reminded of, especially in this, the Beetlejuice. Is he really is the Bugs Bunny character.
Yeah,
that's sort of
coming in to mess with everyone.
Yeah, the famous trickster, like, what's up, Doc? And then he's gonna like,
that's a good analogy.
Turn the gun around in a U-turn kind of thing. And like, what happened here?
He is like Bugs Bunny.
Because then just laws of physics don't apply.
Yeah.
It's just whatever silly for the moment.
That's great.
Like it. But yeah, I think as a kid, there was something just that it's kind of bad. You're kind of being bad, but it's also kind of silly. And it's like he like spits in his jacket and saves it for later and eats a bug. And just, all that stuff as a kid. You're just like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
He kicks the thing over and grabs his crotch. And,
we have to watch it. We have to watch the whole first one.
Yeah, there's just something, especially for like little boys.
Yeah.
And, 10-year-old, an 8 to 10-year-old, 12-year-old kind of thing that just is the like that power wish fulfillment sort of thing. I wish I could do that. I wish I could say whatever I wanted to say, and everybody would let me get away with it and just be bad. And I think that's kind of what I'm guessing in hindsight was the stuff I was excited about as a kid. And then it becomes a cartoon, just like Ghostbusters, which has Dan Aykroyd getting a blowjob by a ghost, which is totally inappropriate for kids. Yeah. But as a kid, you just gloss over that and you're onto the Stay Puft thing and the Slimer thing, and then you got the toys and the cartoons. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know where. I guess if there was a Beetlejuice video game now, if Beetlejuice was a character in Fortnite, you know what I mean, then it'd be like, oh, we all gotta go see like Deadpool, that went from the movie screen onto like video game screens, and the kids who just couldn't get enough of it. Yeah, it is funny the marketing of Deadpool to the kids, right? Because I mean that's a similar type of character. Yeah, I think Deadpool is obviously very kind of Beetlejuice-esque in that sort of way, of like fourth wall breaking, kind of crazy, violent, and irreverent. Yes. Yeah, it's a funny one, but yeah, I think definitely in the Tim Burton sort of world, like that's where I first kind of became aware of like there was a Tim Burton person, with Beetlejuice, and then to do Batman again as a 10-year-old boy, it just was like, this is amazing. I had the Batman mask, and I stood in line to go see it the opening day when it came out, and now I'm 8 years old, and then it's the same guy that directed Beetlejuice, and it's Beetlejuice as Batman. Like, what? This is amazing. But it wasn't, it was its own story and its own IP. But I think for me as that particular kid that I was, it was just the perfect run of like media from one summer thing, like, whoa, this is weird and funny. And then now this is like, now I'm Jack really Nicholson excited. The Joker, right? That's kind of almost a Beetlejuice kind of thing with the big makeup, and that was amazing. Like, who played the blonde? Kim Basinger. Oh, Kim Basinger. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that was striking. She was amazing. Vale. Yeah, Vicky Vale. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. So I remember just being all in on Tim Burton at that point. It was like, this is incredible. All this stuff's so great. And then it was like Batman 2, and that got even grosser and weirder, and that was the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. Oh, right. Danny DeVito Penguin kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like there was like the aughts, kind of post Sleepy Hollow. I feel like Tim Burton, I kind of lost, or post Planet of the Apes. I kind of fell out of the Tim Burton game.
Yeah, it's crazy that Nightmare Before Christmas caught on so big with young people and culture, and that even still, it's like has everyone that goes to Disneyland that loves Nightmare Before Christmas. That's such a big has a big fan base of all ages.
But I feel like that was more of a slow burn. I remember when it came out and seeing it.
Everyone thought it was weird.
But it was also the kind of thing, too. Again, it was like, this is another Tim Burton thing. It's almost like there was like Tim Burton, like Burnout or something.
Yeah.
Like how many swirly, limp circles
mountains.
could you see? Mountains and hills and circles and things.
Yeah.
But that's a funny one, too, because then it's like he designed it and produced it, but then Henry Selick directed it. It's one of those things, too. It's like, it's Tim Burton's thing. And I think he built a brand as one of those few directors. I think we were talking about, like Alfred Hitchcock or who are these, kind of auteurs. Who was allowed to be the auteur in the world, and I think Tim Burton definitely figured out how to do that. Yeah,
it was fun. We'll have to watch it again, the new one.
Yeah, I feel like I felt that too after leaving. I was like, okay, I definitely need to watch this to appreciate everything because it did feel fast paced. There's so much.
Yeah, it was
thrown
fast
at you and everything else, and what's MacArthur Park. I wanted to know who sang that version of it. I couldn't tell if that was the Richard Burton version of it. Or it didn't sound like it.
Oh yeah.
And then they were going to they were intercutting it with this other like 70s like dun 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 dun. What was that one too? That was a different song. That was I knew that, but anyway.
Yeah.
It was like Live and Let Live or something. Or is that what it was with the Paul McCartney song?
Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die, yeah. I don't know.
Well, this is so fun talking to you, Randy Randall.
Hey, thanks for being a guest. Is this you signaling that this is time for you to leave? I'd like to get out of here now, please. Okay, time up for me. I think my coffee's empty. And
how long do you and Farley usually do these halftime shows?
Like 2 to 3 hours.
Stop.
No, we'll go about it. We'll go about an hour, maybe, depending on how shut out of the cannon he is, or I am. We've noticed that the morning ones are different than the evening ones.
Oh yeah,
the evening ones were really
low energy.
Up. No, the evening ones were more revved up, and
funny.
The morning ones are kind of hard to get in the engine started sometimes.
That's funny.
By nighttime, it's just we're ready to go for conspiracy theories. Like, well, we really shot JFK, and the Scientologist did the thing with the thing. And like, oh god, okay. The nighttime ones usually get a little bit wackier.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's been fun. What else you have coming up? Anything you want to promote? What are you working on?
No, I'm good. I'm just gonna hang out with you and the kids today.
Right,
I'm happy to be a guest on the podcast, and thank you, listeners. Hit like and subscribe.
Tell your friends. Leave a rating, 5 stars only. Don't forget to go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate to get a discount on uploading your own music. Do you have Candy's Room songs that you need to get out?
No, not lately. Streamers? When my kids are older, I might revisit my solo music career, but right now I'm chilling.
You could use distrokid.com.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
/hyphenate to get a discount on uploading your own music to all major DSP streamers.
I'm in. Fun. You convinced me.
All right, I guess you're free to go. You've been writing a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I'm working on a story about roller skating. It's slow going, but I should take a few days off work and finish it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That would be good. Tell me a little bit about roller skating. How did roller skating come back into your life, and what is it? How's it working?
I think I saw during the pandemic that a lot of people were doing it more, just people I was following on Instagram, and I thought, I want to get back into that, and I have roller skated off and on at parties or at Moonlight Rollerway in Glendale, like in my 20s. But not a lot, like for a random party here or there, I'd go, and I always loved it when I did it. So I got a pair of cheap roller skates like in 2021, and then I skated on those cheap ones for a year, and then you got me a nice pair for my birthday. I think it was in 2022. So I'm coming up on my like 3rd year anniversary of being more serious about roller skating, and it's so fun. And there's just a lot of fun opportunities here in LA to skate with a lot of different cool roller skaters on the west side, on the east side. Lots of cool events that people put on, so I just love it.
That's cool. It's a good way of just getting outside, getting out there, and you can't hear anybody calling you mom or asking for anything.
Everyone always asks me, like, does your husband and kids love to roller skate too? I'm like, nope, it's my me time.
Well, everybody needs that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, one of our early dates, we went to the roller skating place that was on... It was down there on La Brea, right?
Oh yeah,
Was it World on Wheels?
World on Wheels. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was on Pico. Yeah, exactly. And that shut down. I saw a documentary, United Skates, which is a great documentary that you can watch on HBO. But it talked about how that was one of the main roller skating rinks in LA and Southern California, and it just went through phases of like closing and then reopening. And I think the last reopen was right before the pandemic, and then it closed again during the pandemic. So it's a shame. I think it's sitting there empty.
Oh no!
Yeah,
should do something with
I
it.
know. I think people have tried.
Can Stranger Things just open it back up? Like fever events or something?
Yeah.
These will pop up.
Yeah.
Permanently pop
There's a
up.
great one down in South LA called in Fountain Valley. That's really
okay.
popular with people going from South LA.
That sounds fun.
And more opening. There's one in Ventura. There's another one opening in Santa Clarita. I go to the one in Burbank, the outdoor one in Burbank.
It must just be hard with insurance stuff too, all the waivers and whatever you have to get, to run places like that. I'm sure it's
Yeah. Well, they just have the attendees sign waivers.
sure.
So I don't know if that covers it.
It must be. I mean,
Yeah,
you'd have to
we all
imagine.
sign waivers every time we go to any event.
Yeah, when you break your head open, that
Yeah.
you can't sue them.
They had more lights on last night at the event because I think every month there was people hurting themselves. So now they have additional. They have the
just
fun
club
lighting,
lights,
but then they
yeah.
have a couple like spotlights.
lights.
Yeah, so it's probably safer.
That's good. Yeah, I mean it's like doing anything on wheels. You kind of know what you're doing, especially if you've been doing it a while. I think that's always the thing. I
Yeah.
remember skateboarding growing up. It was always the dumb stuff. It was like you're trying something big or a big trick. Like you don't usually get hurt on that, but then afterwards you're just dicking around in the parking lot, and that's when the board goes sliding out, and then you dislocate your shoulders or whatever.
Yeah. I kept. There was a couple times last night I thought I was going to take a spill, but I didn't.
Ooh. That's such an adrenaline rush. That
Yeah.
feeling of like, oh my, almost got to sit there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, how fun. All right, well, thank you for coming on Hyphenate Halftime.
Thanks. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I wish the Farleys well. I hope everybody's okay up in the mountain fire areas. If you're told to evacuate, I hope you are okay.
Come to Rancho Randall.
That's good. Yeah, just a big open. Yeah, you can come stay with us, but first you have to write us at hyphenatehalftime@gmail.com to request placement at the Rancho. I think we have some chickens and eggs we can share with anybody who's been displaced by fires. We know a vegan chicken rancher who can help set you up with eggs. All right, well. It sounds like we did it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. We'll be back on this Thursday with Dale Crover, drummer extraordinaire from the Melvins, and then a couple more fun ones to come on the next couple weeks. I think we're starting. Who did I just interview? Daniel. Okay, so I think we're going to start three. I should get a fourth one to come in around of solo musicians.
Cool.
People going solo from other bands. I have Dale Crover coming up this Thursday. Next Thursday, Aaron Hemphill. And then should I tease it here? The third one, I might even have a Dean Spunt from the band No Age.
Fun.
Drummers going solo. I guess Hemphill wasn't really a drummer, but he had a record called Drums Not Dead. All right, well, more fun times to come. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And follow us for all new updates. And go to distrokid.com /VIP/hyphenate and get a discount on uploading all your cool music there. And follow Shannon Randall on all of her adventures that she does. You can go to. Do you want people to follow you or no? No one has to follow
I'm
you.
good.
You're good. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.